Hello everyone, and I give you a warm welcome to F1 2017, the career mode. Oh, it's so good that the game is finally here. I've been waiting on this for so long, you've got no idea. In the background you've got, I'm just doing my driver. This is all post-commentated. Going back to the video format, if you guys have seen the recent streams of F1 2017, you'll know what... you know what I mean, because I did Season 1 of F1 2016's fully edited videos. So, F1 2017, Career Mode Episode 1. Welcome to everyone that is here. I'm so excited that this is finally out, so we can set about our brand new journey in a new, fully expanded Formula 1 game. Some of the stuff that I have seen in regards to, like, what this game can do, and what progression is available is just out of this world. Completely out of this world. So we're going to be jumping right into that in a minute. Just sorting out my driver. It actually gave like an import option from F1 2016. So like if I had a save file, so it pretty much pre-filtered out a bunch of it. Apart from I wanted to update my helmet, make it a little bit different for this year's game. So that's what I did. And then we came to the old team selection. So this was the one where, you know, I had to put a lot of thought into this. A lot of thought. 10 teams. A lot of thought went into this because I analysed other YouTubers and what they were doing. I looked at what I did last year. And then I had to put some thought into what I wanted to do. So we've got Mercedes with the expectation of hold on to the #1 spot in Formula 1. Moving over to Ferrari, who are just behind them in the tier there, fight for the championship. Red Bull return to the summit. They're sort of a midway point between the midfield and the front running two teams, so it's always an option. Williams lead the midfield. Maybe you could try and return Williams to their former glory. Then we move down to Force India, which is they want to push for podiums. We saw 2015, 2016. They could get there. They could get there, and there's no reason why they can't again. Then you got the team I started 2016 with the Renault, develop into a front runner. That's what they want to do. They're a factory team moving up. Toro Rosso, if you want to follow the story of Toro Rosso into Red Bull. Haas, who I drove for Season 2 of 2016. And then you've got the two lowest scored cars. The Mclaren Honda, as we all know, make performance gains is their expectation. And they desperately need them. And then we've got Sauber. To score regular points if they can. They're basically going to be coming, from my understanding, of like a Ferrari B team instead of Haas, who currently are at the moment, allegedly. So there you have it. There's the teams, and like I said, I put a hell of a lot of thought into who I wanted to drive for. I put a poll up on Twitter a few months ago, actually, asking who I'd want to drive for. The 4 teams that I thought of, which were Force India, try and develop them into a front running car, which would be good fun. Toro Rosso, as I mentioned, starting the Toro Rosso, try and build up to be that #1 Red Bull driver and take Red Bull to the championship. That one was probably the one I was going to choose, but then I was like, I don't know, and then Arava did a Toro Rosso Caress. I'm like, alright, whatever. Then we got Mclaren Honda, who had a lot of feedback from people that I actually work with who watch my stuff, say they want to see me do Mclaren Honda. I was like, okay, cool, that's fair enough. Obviously, we know Ben's doing Mclaren Honda. And then Sauber, who are literally the worst ranked team, and we can take them from the back to the front. Those were the 4 teams. And according to the Twitter poll, and then over the last few days, and literally last night, me finally deciding who I'm going with, I have decided that my team for F1 2017, you've seen it already in the title, but I'm explaining my thought process in case anyone actually cares, is Mclaren Honda. Sorry, Stoffel, you gotta wait a bit longer to get your permanent race seat, because it's me and Fernando Alonso are going to return to the top. We're going to take McLaren here, but let's go.
Yes, and I respect that. But my client has a championship to contest. So if you want our participation, I'm afraid the concessions are mandatory. Yes, that's fine. Get back to me when you can. Goodbye. No one ever just signs the contract. Anyway, thanks for coming by on such short notice. I just needed to cover a couple of quick things with you before you race. Firstly, as requested, there's a copy of your contract. It's a rolling deal. However, the team reserves right of termination if you fail to meet performance standards. You're second driver for now, but work hard, hit your targets, and I'll be able to sweeten the deal. I'm also looking to get you into some invitational events throughout the season. The experience and exposure from these will be great for your image. Plus, you'll get to drive some nice historic cars. Now then, go get ready for the next session, and good luck.
I think getting a bit more personality and a bit of a facelift there. So this is our first look at the vehicle management screen very quickly on the laptop here, about engine components that take where, the gearbox takes where. We're in Mclaren Honda, so we're going to need to consider that quite heavily over the course of the season. So we're just, having a little nosy around in these screens. But eventually we've got to get on to practice.
You join us just as today's practice session for the Australian Grand Prix is about to start. A warm welcome once again to the man standing beside me in the commentary box for this session, Anthony Davidson. Hello, Ant. Excited to get underway?
Yeah, absolutely. I always look forward to seeing the cars get out there on track. They probably won't be on the limit immediately, of course. We know that one or two of the teams are looking to do some work on new aerodynamic packages, so that always takes some time to get into. But it'll be really interesting to see later on in the session what kind of performance gains are there to be found.
Morning, it's Jeff here. I'm looking forward to working with you as your race engineer. Hope you've had your coffee, because we have a lot of work to do today to get ready for the season ahead. We're ready to fire up the car. Why not head out and get a few early laps under your belt?
Thank you for that, Jeff. I was just enjoying my coffee as we speak. So, as Jeff says, good old Jeff, we love a bit of Jeff. Got the practice programs. There are 5 practice programs in this year's game. Good old track acclimatization, tyre management that's been reworked. New one, fuel saving, which turns out to be quite difficult. Then you've got qualifying trim, which you know from last year's game. Then like a race strategy program. So here we go, going straight into the track acclimatization. Smashed it. 50 points. Job's a good one. This was the tyre wear test. It's been reworked now. You don't have to sit there and do 7 laps and go and go and go and go. It's literally, there you go. You can do 1 lap, and I'm at the point I'm just excited to play the game. So I'm like, I just want to do it. So I got a green score. Here's the fuel saving. Fuel saving was hard, man. Fuel saving was difficult. You see, I upshifted early into 8th gear there to save that final bit of fuel to get me in the green. Here's the race strategy one, where you literally just have to do laps and you have to hit them within a target time, and it tracks like fuel and tyre usage. So we did great there. We got 50 points on that. And then this is a qualifying pace program. Coming out the corner, in anger, on the ultra soft tyres. You can see the Delta tumbling in a straight line because we've got Honda power. And that's those all knocked out. I could have sat there and meticulously tested them, but I was just like, no, I want to get out there and get in the qualifying and in the race. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But before we do that, we need to have a little look at the old new R&D. So I think we're going to need to have a little sit-down chat with this chap.
You got my message. Perfect. Welcome to home away from home. We get more real-time data from the factory now than ever before, and it all comes through here. So I have to spend more time checking over the reports and less time hunting you down in the hospitality suite. To that end, sorry, just a sec. Yeah, Chris, is this important? I'm in the middle of something. Okay. Right. Well, that makes no sense. Have Sarah reset the simulation and run it again. Okay. Sorry about that. As I was saying, we've set up a desk for you at the front here. You can get onto the network from your laptop, so make sure to check the R&D screen regularly. And let us know how you want to use the data that we've collected over the weekend and through the practice programs. Also, bear in mind that the news from the factory won't always be good. Sometimes tests fail, like you've seen just now. And when that happens, we have to divert additional resources to fix it. C'est la vie, I'm afraid.
So just an expansion there on what they introduced in last year's game, the resource points. You know, we've got more practice programs and more areas to develop, so we may as well have, you know, points of failure, because this year's game, I feel as if it's like, yeah, last year you got good, now we're gonna screw you. As we just saw from the message in regards to resource points, here's what we got from practice, and we also get a lovely little 3,000 points to start us off here, which is very nice. We're going to take a little look at the old R&D tree now. If you remember last year's game, you had your 4 lines and your 5 slots, and yep, I did that box, and that will come next race. Smashing. Not as easy this year. Not as easy this year. We'll go into it. We'll have a little look at the R&D tree. We can see overall development progress just there. You've got a lot of different numbers. It doesn't look as simple. We'll jump into the R&D tree, and this will just show the expanse of the game. Look at this. Look at this. So we've got 4 main areas of improvement. You've got powertrain, aerodynamics, durability, and chassis. Durability has no real overall effect on the car. That's more like your parts and your wear. We are Mclaren Honda, and if you go into here, it gives actually specific powertrain performance comparison, and it will do that for aerodynamics and chassis. So you can see here on the chassis, McLaren are actually the 4th best. We have the 4th best chassis on the grid, right? So I'm thinking, well, there's no point in working on the chassis. Aerodynamics, we're midfield, which is fine. Again, it's like, okay. We all know, if you're an F1 fan, you know where McLaren's issues lie. They lie in the powertrain. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to spend 500 resource points on the general wear, because it increases durability of all power unit components as well as gearbox by 10%. For 500 points, that seemed pretty worth it to me. There's actually a specific tree, so you can't just jump to any of these and do it. You have to start with this one. You've also got efficiency and I can't remember what the other one is just now. Quality control, sorry. So you've got the efficiency. So that will be in regards to how well the parts can do. And then you've got the quality control, which means the actual percentage of failure. So we'll start the powertrain tree off with this minor upgrade just here for 1,000 points. We'll do that. That's apparently going to be ready for Bahrain. This one's instant. So this one will improve the efficiency, meaning 10% less resources. So you need to use less resource points to actually get the upgrade. It probably made sense to start with that, but never mind. And then the quality control. So that then means that new upgrades have a 7.5% less chance of failure. So we need to consider, of course, the fact not only can we get upgrades, they can fail. Which then means you need to spend an additional lump of resources for them to actually work, as I've already seen. So that's, But it is what it is. You could dump a ton of money into a project and it couldn't work. So that's how it's going to happen. But we, as McLaren Honda, we're definitely going to have to be looking at the powertrain and making our engine as good as possible, because that's our failure point, really. So that's what we're going to be focusing on so far. We've got 826 points left over, and I think we're going to save those up, and we're going to consider bringing up the next upgrade once that new one that comes into place. For now, though, it's on to qualifying. And you can see here, Fernando Alonso out in front of me. There's actually a quali mode on the engines that you can use. It's only available in qualifying, just called Max in big capital letters. And you can see here I start my flying lap. I wanted to try and get some toe off Alonso, but Hulkenberg came out the pits and impeded me a little bit. Cost me a bit of time there. Obviously, I mean, we were all going to filter into the same way, but yeah, that certainly didn't do my lap any favours there. So, and Max just burns the fuel ridiculously, but you can see here as we go through the qualifying lap, we're 2.2 seconds down, and this is the first attempt at the left-right chicane in anger, and as you can see, the car did not want to go through it, but you can absolutely tell the huge difference of driving a 2017 car versus driving a 2016 car. The front end can be so pointy, you just need to know when to turn in at the right point. So this is our actual qualifying lap starting off here. So we so far have not set a time. We come across the first sector at 28.6. It is a second down on the Mercedes, but I would have come to expect that. We're 2.1 down and with a 52.1 as we come through the middle. We absolutely butcher the left-right chicane, trying to carry as much speed as possible through the final corner. DRS open, charging towards the line. We've only got time for one lap. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 1:26.3. It put us 13th at that moment, but not everyone had run. So when it came to the end of the session, we failed the objective, and we were near enough a second slower than Alonso. We were only faster than Pascal Wehrlein. So, yeah, not great. But now, we can go into the race and try and redeem ourselves.
Big changes to the technical regulations, the potential perhaps to give us the biggest shake-up since 2014. Very different cars visually, and, fingers crossed, much faster as well.
Good thing then that combined these teams put in just a shade over 13,000 kilometres on the clock during testing. The cornering speed of these new machines is absolutely unbelievable. How many lap records are still held by Michael Schumacher from 2004? Well, on the right day, on the right tyres, we might just be threatening them this year. Wider tyres, wider cars, more downforce. I have to say they look great, and the qualifying spectacle is undebatable. Now the big question remains, can they follow? Can they race? Or have these new rules gone too far?
So here we go, race strategy. One stop around Australia. Super soft going to the soft tyre. I could probably change that to soft then super soft, but due to how slow the McLaren is going to be, we need as much speed as possible to get track position, and then we can worry about any fights later on in the Grand Prix. So, we're starting on the back row, behind Alonso and Ericsson. Obviously, the McLaren and the Saubers are going to be like arch rivals this year, I feel. And so, it's going to be important to jump them as soon as possible and then try and tussle with anyone else if we can. We've now jumped to our grid position. Love being on the back rows. Seamless transition now into the race as we build to those 5 red lights. They're all on. Lights are out. Away we go. Ericsson gets a good one. Alonso gets a good one. As you'd expect, Wehrlein, we just looked back, didn't have a good one. So we can move to the inside, try and be aggressive into turn 1. Everyone going very close up. A few guys cutting the inside bit of the corner as you'd expect. Side by side with Fernando, who hasn't had the best run. But we've now got the inside line as we head down towards turn 3. They're going 3 wide. Massa coming up alongside Stroll. We're going to take a lunge if we can. Making it past Kvyat there. Fighting it out with Grosjean. Palmer's ahead of us all. We've been blocked off by the Renault. And we're going to understeer wide. It's going to allow Grosjean back passes Palmer and Stroll go side by side through turn 5. But we're up into 16th place off the start. Good one for us. Palmer and Stroll still battling out through turn 6 of the Renault and the Williams still side by side. We're going to get a good run. We're up behind Grosjean. There's Kvyat just behind us. And we're going to take a look now into turn 9. Palmer and Stroll still going to... We're going to dive down the inside of Grosjean. Through the curb. Can we get good enough traction on the super soft tyre? Looks like we have. We've managed to jump ahead of the Haas car. And now we're in the slipstream of the Renault, who's trying so desperately to fight past Williams. Grosjean going to try and go around the outside into the left-right chicane. Doesn't work out for him. That's one of the areas on this circuit that's going to be a struggle for us due to our power deficit. You know, this whole final sector, we need to try and be as brave on the brakes as possible to make up as much time as we can, because we're losing so much through the down the straights. So anyway, coming up to the end of lap 1, we have Stroll up ahead of us here. He's on the soft tyre, so is Palmer, so is Grosjean. So we're dicing it up with guys who are going to be going longer than us on this first stint and are going to be on the softer tyre afterwards. We're going to put it up into rich mixture now on the straight and just see the difference. I mean, the slipstream isn't nowhere near as apparent in this year's game as it is in 2016, thankfully, because it was a bit broken. But you can see that we weren't getting anything off Palmer, and now we've got Grosjean, whose Ferrari power unit is going to be competitive. We take a look down the inside of Palmer, try and scare him out of the way. He does jump out of the way a little bit, and then we're going to make the exact same mistake we did last lap. Not to the same degree, but it does allow Grosjean past us very annoyingly. We've sort of let him off the hook there, Grosjean, to come past us. As we now jump on to lap 3. You can see Stroll finally getting away, and Grosjean stuck behind Palmer a little bit there. Danny Kvyat in the Toro Rosso behind us on super soft tyres. I think he's got a good run. He's looking to the outside of the left-right chicane. Can he do it around the outside? We defend quite nicely initially. Jump across the curb, and there we go. So Kvyat is going to look to get past us. He's out of position, I feel. He should not be down in the bottom 5, as we've got Grosjean and Palmer going side by side. Look at the AI. From what I experienced and what I saw in this race, and from what I'm seeing in others, AI very much improved this year. Very much improved. And you still see them go side by side. Grosjean around the outside of Palmer and then gets the inside for the final corner. Beautifully executed by the Haas driver on the Renault. As we now move on to lap 4. We're still keeping relatively in touch with these guys, surprisingly. I think the only reason why that's happening has got to be the super soft tyre due to its stickiness and the cornering speeds we can carry. But now Kvyat able to charge past us, and he's got past us completely in the straight line there, so nothing we can really do about that. We can try and hang on if we can, but I honestly have my doubts due to our, again, it's down to the engine, it's down to the straight line speed. It's just not up to snuff, and we really have to work on that, not only this season but the seasons to come. I'm not going to do what I did last year, get the car into the midfield and then go, no, I'm going to move somewhere else. No, this is a project. We're gonna bring McLaren back to the forefront. We now jump on. It's the start of lap 5 here, as you can see, and there's a little bit of a cork in the bottle, and the cork is named Lance Stroll. He's dropping back through the field. Grosjean's got past him. Stroll is dropping back. It's allowed Kvyat to get past Palmer here. Not too sure what's going on with Stroll. I don't know if he's got damage or some kind of internal issue. I hadn't heard anything over the radio to indicate that he would be slow for any particular reason, but it's allowed me to catch back up with Palmer and Kvyat here, so we're going to try and take advantage if we can. We've sort of pulled Alonso and the two Saubers along. As you can see, they're really not that far behind us. As we now come up towards turn 9, Palmer going horribly slow. We're going to have to dive it down the inside just as part of avoiding action there, really. Nothing else. Didn't really think I was going to be making the move from that far back, but again, you know, we just had to try and avoid contact. So we're past Palmer, up into 16th. Lap 6 now, Kvyat still behind Stroll, but he's definitely, you know, trying to have a little look at him. And it just appears Stroll is just very slow. Like, when he gets to top speed, he's fine, but initially, like, out of the corners, he's not there, really. As we now move on to the end of lap 6, oh, sorry, the midpoint of lap 6, we're at the chicane once again, which is very much a focal point. You can see Stroll is just not helping Kvyat out, and we're able to close on him, surprisingly enough, in the McLaren Honda. As we move into the final bit of the lap just here, we're closing right up behind Danny Kvyat here. Can we maybe try and get an opportunity to pass him here? We'll have a look into the penultimate corner. Here we go once again, dive it down the inside. He was going slowly behind Lance Stroll, probably surprised by our move. But up into 15th, and as long as we beat the team objective and Alonso, I was going to consider that a victory in my book, but we're actually dicing it up with other cars. Speaking of other cars, the team seem to be thinking that we're battling Grosjean, who's already ahead of Stroll and driving down the road, so I don't think we're actually battling him, but my teammate, yeah, the best way to gauge how you're doing in Formula 1 is against your teammate, but you see lap 7 here, we're behind Lance Stroll now, nothing ventured, nothing gained there, not able to get up behind him. You can see by the end of lap 9, I'm going to assume any kind of issues he had have been fixed, because he started to pull away from us again, but like I say, I heard nothing on the radio about any kind of improvements for him either, so whatever was going on with him appears to be resolved. We're now under pressure from Danny Kvyat, who's going to be looking to move up the field. He tries to go around the outside of turn 1, and that proves to be very ineffective for him. As we now double check the vehicle condition, I thought it might give me some information about my components, but it didn't. Obviously, you know, you can check that on the MFD. Now Perez coming out here, obviously gone from ultras to regular soft tyres. We just got round him there at turn 1. Let's have another little look at that. Very similar to qualifying, as I swung in, no contact made, but just about managed to get around the Force India, just managed to avoid a huge accident. And now, a milestone moment in my career mode has been achieved as a McLaren Honda gets into a points paying position. That's right, we are running in 10th place in Australia, and I never thought it would happen. Now granted, it's due to pit stops, you know, definitely not there on merit, not at this point yet anyway. But I figured it was funny that we somehow managed to keep a good enough pace in the early part to get into a points paying position. We stayed there for a couple of laps anyways. We now come in to the pit stops. A few new additions in this year's game, like engaging the pit limiter, which I was able to do nicely in time. I didn't want to do anything that I became accustomed to in the streams of 2016. And that was speed in the pit lane. Here we go. Now we do manual pit stops. We have to engage the clutch and release it. And we release it when the green light goes, well, green, obviously. And we got a 2.6 stop, which was damn impressive for McLaren. And we've managed to stay ahead of the cars behind us. So, as Jeff says, we're now finishing the race on the soft tyre. Our one stop is completed. And my sole objective for the rest of this race then was keep in contact with you guys like Kvyat and beat the Saubers and Alonso. I figured if I could do that, that was damn near good as a victory in my books, honestly. So you can see the next lap, Alonso and Wehrlein had pit. They're now a long way behind us. And so we're still in 16th. and it was pretty much 16th, just not for that much longer. As we coming out of turn 9, I struggled with traction in turn 9 quite a lot over the whole weekend, and Kvyat just breezed past me down the inside. I'm like, well, that's that position gone. He wasn't very fast through the left-right chicane, but, or turns 11 and 12, I suppose you could call them. But nonetheless, Kvyat passed us, and due to our straight line speed, we're not going to be seeing him anytime soon. This McLaren, nice and slow. We can see him just disappearing as we start lap 20, and I realised at that point, well, nothing really going for me here. So we're gonna try something a little bit different. So I cycled through the cameras real quick, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna do a lap in cockpit cam, because I haven't done cockpit cam in a long time, and I don't know if any of you guys out there played cockpit cam, but I figured, you know what, screw it, let's do it. So here we go, cockpit cam for a lap of the Australian Grand Prix, turn 4, nicely onto the curb on the outside. They're building up through the gears, flat through the right-hander now, due to the increased downforce of the 2017 cars. We now head down towards turn 6. Kvyat, 3.7 ahead of us. Jolyon Palmer is actually behind us on the super soft tyres, and he's 3.8 behind us now. So we're in a sandwich of two cars that should be running a hell of a lot faster than us as we go into turn 9. We took a large chunk of the curb in 4th gear. That's probably why I'm not getting the traction I would like out there, because I'm in 4th. If I drop it into 3rd, I might run out there a bit nicer. As we build, we should be going a lot faster than 175 at this point, but so we are through the left-right chicane. There we go. Only have to drop it down 1 gear here, because these cars are now so planted to the road. And like I say, the turn in, like last year's game, when I turned in, I felt as if I always had to apply a bit of right hand lock, due to the fact I could hear the rear end go down. But these cars glued to the floor, just glued. You turn, it will go in that direction. It's so different to last year's game. And I come around the final corner, I saw cars in the pits. And I'm like, Magnussen has pits. And Magnussen, clearly on a 2-stop strategy. Hulkenberg has done the same for Renault. At which point I promptly decide, once I go through turn 1, I'm like, oh, right, better be a little bit serious here. Go back to the actual racing camera that I'm going to be using for this season. Because, well, there could be a couple more positions on the horizon. Who knows? There weren't. I can absolutely assure you there weren't. Due to the fact that Palmer is now behind me, and he's going to be all over the back of me. Like a rash. Here he goes, Renault power. He's going to come through. Magnussen down in 17th in the Haas on the ultra soft. So clearly, one of the lower midfield teams tried the strategy that the top guys are going to use, and it hasn't worked for him. But Palmer gets through. Even Renault power just completely outdoes me here. So he's gone through, and we've now only got like 7 laps left to go. So it's about finishing as high as possible. If we can defend from Magnussen, that's just the best. So here we go, the end of lap 24, start of lap 25. Magnussen on the ultra soft tyre has caught me. Side note as well, on the soft tyre, Alonso was a hell of a lot faster. But here we go, Magnussen looking to make a move on the right. I aggressively move across. Magnussen always locked up into turn 1. We've managed to go round. We've gone on the grass. Magnussen's lost, well, a hell of a lot of momentum. He's still there, but I wonder what the hell happened there. Let's get it from on board the Haas. So we move across to the right, aggressively push him. We then move to the right, left-hand side to take the racing line. He just gets all locked up into turn 1, and we made contact with his left front. He's lucky to still have a wheel. If that was 2016, that would have come clean off. And then Kimi Räikkönen out of the Grand Prix. We see it now. He's going through turn 1. He's in the lead at this point, and the car gives up on him. And that's Bottas into the lead. And then we're going to see here Hamilton and Vettel come round. And I found that quite interesting, because I've seen a lot of other guys on their career modes where Raikkonen is Mr. Super OP, and everyone else is falling off the road. But alas, he's the one retirement of this race so far, and we battled with Magnussen continuously for the end of the Grand Prix. You see him try to go down the inside of turns 11 and 12, didn't work out for him. He's now going to try the outside of turn 1, but once again we block him off. It's now lap 28, 2 laps to go in the Australian Grand Prix. And as I mentioned, Alonso is looming in. I don't know why his pace was so good on these tyres, but now Magnussen does me in a straight line. We're going to try and go around the outside of turn 4. We've been pushed wide onto the grass, and that's it. Magnussen, faster car, faster tyres, has done us. And now we've got to defend from Alonso, because he's been closing in at a vast rate of knots at the end of this race. But now, as we go through turns 11 and 12, you see on the mini-map in the bottom left, Alonso is getting the blue flags from Valtteri Bottas, who leads the Grand Prix. And at that point, when he passed him, I realised that all I had to do was just bring it home. So that was it. I had to do lap 29. I was the final guy to cross the line, but I just stuck it in lean, took care of the engine, took care of the gearbox, And we're going to come across the line. 16th place in our first race. It doesn't sound that impressive, but if you consider the fact that I beat my teammate and the only other 2 cars that are competitive, if it was a 4-car race, we would have won. We'd have won.
Victory for the Silver Arrows. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
Not too sure what safety car Anthony Davidson was on about, because there certainly wasn't one in that Grand Prix. But there you go. Bottas first, Vettel second, Hamilton third. They're the fast guys who tried the 2-stop. Hulkenberg eventually only finished 11th. Stroll got points in the end. A couple of guys with a good result. Grosjean's Haas in 7th. Perez up there in 6th, looking very, very nice. And like I say, I was happy with 16th. We hit the team objective and we beat Alonso. So in my opinion, we did alright. We did alright. We definitely, you know, there's a lot of work to be done on the car. There's a lot of work to be done on the car. So we can worry about that after we get the resource wins. But for now, we have a new gentleman to meet. We've got the rivalry update first of all. Alonso beat me in qualifying, but during the race I brought it back to a draw. But now we're going to have our first sighting of Jonathan after we do the team approval. And this is a reputation level with the teams, which is nice to keep track of. And the Gulf of Career score, which no one cares about.
Is this the one? Indeed it is. And this is Jonathan. He's going to let you drive some of his cars.
Well, not quite my cars, per se. It's a mere detail. You know, I'd really rather be down there racing them myself, to be honest. I'm actually quite handy behind the wheel, but it's the downforce, those lateral Gs, you know. The old neck can't really handle it. So I need a pro. That's where you come in. We run in a bunch of events throughout the year. Time trials, races, all sorts. And I have it on good authority that you have the ability and temperament to do well in these. Make our business look good and, most importantly, bring the cars back in one piece. So consider this a formal invitation. I'll see you at the track.
Now, I'd just like to step into my office. I'd like to go over those contract revisions we discussed on the phone.
So there we have it. There was Jonathan, and here is our preference. I've seen a lot of guys do the pursuit challenge, so I decided, screw it, I'll take the overtake challenge at Britain. Thank you very much. I'll drive the 1996 Williams FW18, the Williams that Damon Hill won the World Championship in. Fantastic car. Good fun to drive it round Silverstone. This is the short circuit, bear in mind. So this will be an interesting experience as to find out the lines. But then we've got the AI drivers driving the McLaren MP46, I think it is. And you know what I said about the McLaren, the 2017 cars having turn in? Yeah, this old car, no, didn't have that. Had a lot of understeer. Obviously nowhere near as much downforce on these cars. And I think it's brilliant that Cody's have been able to give them a different feel and definitely a different soundtrack. Just listen to that Williams Renault V10. What a great soundtrack as we dive down the inside for 16th and the second of our 12 overtakes that are necessary. I will say, this challenge, difficult. Pretty damn difficult, as you're probably going to see here. I make a couple of cuts just in here where there are periods of just not a lot happening, but I had 3 minutes and 50 seconds to overtake 12 cars. And obviously, you know, they are slower than me, so it was fairly simple to just start driving through and darting up the field here. But there are just points like certain corners where you're just not gaining any momentum. It was mainly on sort of like the straights and into the braking zones where it was very noticeable as we now get a bit of slipstream and up the inside for our 5th overtake. out of the 12 with just less than 2.5 minutes left to go. So we go screaming into Stowe corner, wait for the front end to turn in. There it is, we finally get it in. And we're going to be able to make a move on Murray into Vale. There we go, that's 6. That's half of our overtakes done in just over half the time. But here we go now. Just over a minute left. We've got 8 drivers. And we're going to get past our 9th one just there. And then we're going to go... it takes so long for the front end to go in on these cars. But honestly, I didn't make that many mistakes, realistically. Like, I ran wide a couple of times on the first lap, just getting used to how the car handled. But here we go, we're lining up our 10th overtake, 45 seconds left on the clock. Here we go, in a straight line, that's 10. And now we've got a bit of a gap that needs to be closed up for our last couple. Only 35 seconds left here. So it's going to be very touch and go if we're going to be able to get this completed or not. We're going to have to make a big diving move. That's exactly what we're doing. Down the inside, one overtake left, 25 seconds left to go. We're going to have to get it very neat and tidy on the power. Coming down across the line, here we go. 15 seconds left to get past Giles into turn 1. We're going to have to carry as much speed as possible. Drop it down to 5th on the accelerator. 8 seconds left on the clock as we do get through. We passed the challenge, but that was... honestly, that was pretty tough. That was pretty damn tough. For someone who made not many mistakes, it was still a good challenge there. But it's good fun. It's nice to break up every Grand Prix weekend, especially when we're in a McLaren Honda. Not going to do too well. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Next video will be coming soon. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment any feedback, and I'll see you next time.